It's funny, y'all, that we're talking about all these running backs because if I'm thinking correctly, all right, so Rand Carthon, here he is in the war room, his first NFL draft, his first off season to look at things. And, he's got a lot of work to do. And if we're looking at this the correct way, I would think that moves that he is going to make to get under the cap would happen this week at some point before he ever goes to Indianapolis so that he can focus on Indianapolis and figure out the formula and the game plan from there. Now, what those cuts are and what those things are, I don't know. I feel like, Taylor DeWan is probably the first place that, they relieve money, and then there's a handful of guys you can look at for other things. But when we're talking about these running backs, when I worked Monday on Buck's show with Lucas, we had callers kind of hinting at the fact that, something could happen to Derrick Henry, which absolutely it could when you look at what Derrick Henry is getting paid versus these young men that we're talking about that are draft eligible. And we mentioned it in the first segment with Isaiah Pacheco, who didn't even make $800,000 this year, and he's got a Super Bowl ring. So when I've been saying publicly, prepare yourself for what could be a wild ride this offseason. There might be life after Derrick Henry in this case if things go the way I think they might. And then people are like, whoa, hey, hang on a second, Derrick Henry not a Titan? But there are other people who could use his services. I'm not saying he's done, but he will be 30 years old this time next year, and he knows he's not getting any younger, and he's an elite back, there's no question. But that's a place where you could save some money. And because he is still of some value, you could find a trade partner for him to get you something that you need. I mean, we talked about it last week. There's a place in Atlanta where Arthur Smith is the head coach, and they have money. And guess what you can get back from them that you got from the Julio Jones trade is get your fourth-round pick back. So, I mean, bigger picture, that's why these running backs are seriously something I'm looking at in this combine next week in Indianapolis, because there are so many people who can help you here. And like I said before, is there a Derrick Henry in this draft? No, there's not. Bijan Robinson is the best guy in this draft at the running back position because of what he can bring in all three downs. But there are so many other guys who aren't even won't be a first-round pick who can help you day one.
Rhett, man, you may have just dropped
I know.
the bomb
I was
right there.
I was just going to say, I think he convinced. I think he convinced me a little that might be the right decision, and there is no way that I was thinking we'd see Derrick leave, and we're not saying that's going to happen. But the more and more you speak of it, and you see the depth that's in this running backs class, you see that they have Hassan Haskins. The more I'm kind of like, wow, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Well, Kayla, at some point it comes down to the math in this thing.
Yeah.
We know cap $224.8 million. We know roughly they're $21 million over. And yes, with a couple of moves you can get under the cap, but you have to have operating expense. You have to sign your rookie draft class. And, I mean, Kayla, it's $12 million or less than $1 million. And at some point, the rubber meets the road in this case. And, we're going to lead up to, as we get closer to the draft, what I believe the most important positions of this Titans season is replacing as much as 4/5 of the starting offensive line. And so, because you have areas of need, or at least potential areas of need right now, you're going to have to look at some other ways to get creative in this. And look, do I want to see Derrick Henry go? Absolutely not. I love Derrick. He's a great dude. And my goodness, what explosive and exciting moments he's helped bring to this team, and put, the whole team on his shoulders at times to get wins. The level of respect is incredible. The business part of this comes into this at some point.
Yes, it does, Rhett. Well, Broken Here first on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Rhett. Nah, I'm just playing, Rhett. I'm not going to gaslight him like that. I'm not going to do it.
Well, you got a lot of followers. You could hit one tweet there.
Right?
I'd have pitchforks and torches at my front door here.
I know. But that's
because there's no doubt about it. I love Derrick Henry. Listen, he's fantastic. And I honestly believe he keeps carving out the numbers he's doing. He's going to find himself with a gold jacket at some point. Yeah. That's how much respect I have for him. I don't want him to go. But the business part of this is what we're talking about.
And I think that's where you separate one from the other. You know, it's two sides of the NFL. There's the game, and there's always the business, right? And nobody ever, considers the heart in either one of those when you're having a business conversation, right?
No, they don't. And look, it's funny how I love to play fantasy football.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love to play Madden? But, those are fantasy and not reality. And it's funny how that, when you get callers and we get folks on social media who want to make moves just because they make them so easily in those two lanes of interest and having some fun. But when it gets to the real bottom line business of this, they have a hard time accepting that at the end of the day, it is just that. It is a business. Yes, it is the greatest sport in North America and record numbers of people watching on television, and it's fantastic. But at the end of the day, these are guys' jobs and livelihood on the line.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rhett. And to that running back position, though, I think Isaiah Pacheco, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire also been one of those young guys, man, that helped the Kansas City team. You look at those and you say to yourself, like, running backs in the draft may be the one-off position to where, Rhett, to your point earlier, and you kind of mentioned, it doesn't matter how big or small a school a guy went to. If he checks some boxes decent enough in the passing game and is a good runner, like a guy like Dwayne McBride from UAB who didn't have a program a few years back, or to your point, Tajay Spears from Tulane. Like, those are two smaller school guys that will be draft picks for the NFL because the running back is a one-off position. Either you're good enough or you're not, and when you're not, you're out, Rhett B.
And it's just that simple. And look, how about, the former Vol and Oklahoma Sooner Eric Gray that we saw in Mobile that week? You don't think that guy can help you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a guy that looks the part. 100%. And even at Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky, who had a fantastic production at the University of Kentucky. But, yeah, you had Dwayne McBride from UAB. That might be a sleeper in all of this. But, yeah, you're right. If you're good enough, it doesn't matter where you played, they'll find you. Prime example, there is a pass rusher from Ferris State.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Hockey powerhouse.
And invited to the combine. And Ferris State is a college up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And this guy that is invited to the combine, where is this guy? Caleb Murphy. Caleb Murphy is 6'5", 215. Which you can tell he's light in the rear end, being at 215 is that big. But there's something there or he would not be here. And first of all, he broke Matt Judon's NCAA sack record. He had 25 and a half sacks last year. Now, that's big production in a small pond. But there's some length there and some skills and traits that somebody wants to see or he wouldn't be invited to Indianapolis. So there's your point right there, Ramon, is it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're good, and Matt Judon, look at he came out of those same kind of things. Where did he go to Grand Valley State or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
He's a perennial Pro Bowler. I mean, he's a game wrecker. So yeah, you can find help in the NFL draft, and certainly the combine is the next big part of that. Now, here's why I bring up what the scenario that I did with Derrick Henry. There's three things at the combine that happen. One, as a GM and a coach, you can look to face-to-face and talk to some of these kids and kind of get a peek at their personality.
Yeah.
Two, you get medical information to glean from them medically, having them checked out. Anything that is a problematic thing down the road, whether it's, somebody's got a shoulder that's nagging or they've had soft tissue injury, whatever. And then the other part is this is where general managers talk to one another because they're all there together. And this is where the conversations begin about trades. Just like Ryan Poles, the general manager from the Bears, is going to have a lot of conversations this next week, because will he stay with Justin Fields, or will he trade Justin Fields and take a quarterback of his own at one? Or will, so these kinds of things, and that's what I mean with Rand Carthon might start entertaining talks with someone about possibly trading some of the stars of this team to get back to where they need to be money-wise.
Absolutely right. Rhett Bryan, our guest here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Good info from Rhett B. Yeah. Always good info from Rhett B. But setting the world ablaze a little bit this morning. We love it. Talking about a busy week.
Yeah, and when I talk to you next week, it'll be from the Indianapolis Convention Center, home of the 2023 Combine, and we'll figure out what all the buzz of the week is at that point. Obviously, it'll be what guys' measurements are, hand sizes for quarterbacks, 40 times, all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
And home of the AFC South team that was swept by the Tennessee Titans.
The Indianapolis Colts.
And them as well. Yes, that's right. Rhett Bryan, our guest. Wednesdays here at Hour 4. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Rhett, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Rhett.
All right, y'all have a good rest of the day and week. Talk to you soon.